Have you ever had your debit card declined at the grocery store or gas station, even when you know there's plenty of money in your account? What if I told you that a simple payment decline message could actually be a trap designed to drain your bank account in just minutes? This scam is spreading quickly across the country, and seniors are being caught off guard every single day. Today I'm going to show you how this trick really works, why older adults are the ones most at risk, and the simple steps you can take right now to protect yourself and your hard-earned savings. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments where you're watching this video from and what time of day it is for you right now. I always enjoy seeing who's tuning in and when. And if you find this video helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you don't feel like subscribing, just tap the like button instead. It still helps spread the word. Stay with me because what seems like a small inconvenience could actually be the moment your financial security is at risk. The common situation. When a payment gets declined, picture this moment clearly. You are standing at the checkout line in a busy grocery store, your cart full of everyday essentials, and a line of people is forming behind you. You reach for your debit card, slide it into the machine, or maybe tap it quickly, expecting the familiar beep of approval. But instead, the screen flashes a cold and unexpected message: payment declined. The cashier looks at you with that practiced, neutral face, and you suddenly feel the eyes of strangers waiting impatiently. For many older adults, this moment is more than just an inconvenience. It stirs up feelings of embarrassment and even shame, as though the machine is suggesting you don't have enough money to cover your groceries. Seniors often grew up in a time when reputation and responsibility were everything. So even a small delay at the checkout feels like a spotlight shining directly on them. That emotional pressure is real. The urge to avoid holding up the line or causing a scene can be overwhelming. And in that pressured moment, almost every senior does what feels natural. They quickly try the card again. But here is where the hidden danger lies. Scammers understand human behavior, especially the habits of older adults. They know that politeness and the desire not to cause trouble can override caution. That second swipe or tap is exactly what they are counting on. In some cases, the first decline message was never from your bank at all. It was a staged trick created by tampered machines, overlaid devices, or even dishonest employees. The real transaction was never the problem. The problem was that your card information was already captured the moment you first tried. Think of it like a magician's sleight of hand. The illusion is convincing because it feels ordinary and believable. Just as a magician distracts your eyes while the trick happens elsewhere, scammers use the fake decline to distract your attention from what is truly going on. You walk away relieved that the second attempt worked, never realizing your details are already stored in the wrong hands. The psychology here is powerful. Seniors, more than younger shoppers, tend to value courtesy and speed. They do not want to look confused or hold people up, so they push forward quickly without asking questions. Yet that very politeness, admirable as it is, becomes the open door scammers exploit. It is not a weakness, it is a strength that has been twisted against you. Recognizing that is the first step to protecting yourself. So what can you do when this happens? First, take a deep breath and pause, even if the people behind you seem restless. Remember that your money and your security are more important than a few impatient sighs. Ask the cashier for a printed receipt showing the decline. If the employee refuses or appears hurried, that itself is a warning sign. Instead of swiping again, consider switching to a credit card, which offers more fraud protection than debit. And if something about the machine feels off, too bulky, too loose, or strangely delayed, trust your instincts and stop the transaction altogether. Moments like these can feel unsettling, but they don't have to control you. The key is to slow down, listen to your gut, and protect yourself before rushing forward. Seniors have spent a lifetime building wisdom, patience, and resilience. By applying that same wisdom in small daily moments, like standing at a checkout counter, you can turn a vulnerable situation into one where you remain firmly in control. That is the hope, and that is the power you still hold in your own hands. Why seniors are the perfect targets. When you look closely at how scams are designed, it becomes clear why older adults are singled out so often. Many seniors in America grew up in a time when courtesy, respect, and patience were not just values, but everyday expectations. Standing in line, most seniors would rather stay quiet, smile politely, and move quickly, rather than question what seems like a small hiccup at the register. That instinct to avoid causing a scene, while admirable, is exactly what criminals exploit. There is also the generational mindset shaped by years of financial discipline. Many seniors were raised in an era when debt was considered dangerous, so they naturally leaned toward using debit cards instead of credit. Debit cards feel safe because you are spending only what you have, and that feels responsible. But the very tool that seems safer can actually leave you more exposed. Unlike credit cards, where fraudulent charges can be flagged and reversed before you pay, debit cards pull money directly from your checking account. If something goes wrong, your rent money, your grocery budget, or even funds set aside for medication can vanish instantly. Banks may eventually reimburse you, but the process can take 30, 60, sometimes even 90 days. That is far too long to live in limbo when every dollar matters. Technology habits also play a role. Younger people often check their banking apps multiple times a day, getting instant alerts for every purchase. Seniors, by contrast, may prefer paper statements, balancing a checkbook, or simply trusting that things are fine until the bill arrives. This slower feedback loop gives scammers a dangerous advantage. By the time unusual charges are noticed, the money may already be gone and the trail much harder to trace. Consider a simple example. A senior makes a purchase at the pharmacy, sees a decline, tries again, and thinks no more of it. Days later, when the monthly statement arrives in the mail, she notices withdrawals she never made. By then, the scammer has had plenty of time to drain hundreds of dollars, and the stress of calling the bank, waiting on hold, and filling out forms becomes overwhelming. The emotional toll is as real as the financial one. Anxiety, embarrassment, and even sleepless nights can creep in, especially when living on a fixed income. So what can be done? The first step is awareness. Recognize that your natural politeness and financial habits, while strengths in so many parts of life, can create vulnerabilities in this specific area. The next step is to add small protective routines. Checking your account online at least once or twice a week, setting up text alerts for card use, and keeping a credit card as a backup option can make a major difference. These actions do not mean abandoning your values of courtesy or responsibility. They mean adapting them to today's realities, where criminals are using technology to turn good habits into weak spots. The truth is, seniors are targeted not because they are careless, but because they are respectful, responsible, and trusting. Those are qualities to be proud of, not ashamed of. By pairing those qualities with modern awareness and small safety steps, you can continue living with dignity and control. And that combination, wisdom from the past plus caution in the present, is what truly makes you stronger than any scammer. The hidden mechanics behind the scam. To understand how this scam works, we need to peek behind the curtain and see the tools criminals actually use. One of the most common devices is called a skimmer. Overlay, a thin plastic cover that slips right over the card reader at a grocery store or gas station. It looks almost identical to the real machine, but inside it secretly records your card number as soon as you insert it. Sometimes the overlay also includes a small keypad that sits on top of the real buttons, silently collecting your PIN while you think you are just entering it normally. Other tricks are less visible, but just as dangerous. Fraudsters sometimes manipulate the software of a payment terminal, programming it to flash declined even though your bank actually approved the charge. That fake error message nudges you to try again, and in that extra attempt, the machine captures more of your information. In other cases, a dishonest employee might simply press the cancel button right before the transaction finishes. To you, it looks like the system rejected your card. To them, it is a chance to skim your details before waving you through on the second try. There is also the so-called test charge strategy. A scammer or corrupted system runs a tiny withdrawal, maybe just $1 or $2 that you barely notice or dismiss as a mistake. But that small charge is like a burglar rattling your doorknob to see if it is unlocked. If the card works, the thieves know they can come back later for a much larger hit. By the time you see the big withdrawal, the money is already gone, and the criminals are long out of reach. What makes these schemes even more unsettling is the mix of high-tech and low-tech methods. Some scams involve remote hacking, turning an ordinary terminal into a trap controlled from miles away. Others are as simple as an employee distracting you for a moment, pressing a button, and smiling politely as if nothing unusual happened. It is very much like someone in a crowded store pretending to trip and drop their bag while their partner quietly slips a wallet from your pocket. The distraction feels natural, so you never suspect the trick until later. For seniors, the danger is amplified by trust and routine. Most older adults have spent decades shopping in the same stores, recognizing the same friendly clerks, and assuming the equipment in front of them is safe. That trust is not misplaced. It is a reflection of the values that keep communities strong, but it can be twisted into vulnerability when bad actors get involved. And when you combine that trust with the natural hesitation to double-check machines or question employees, you see why seniors are often at higher risk. The good news is that awareness is a powerful defense. Before inserting your card, take a second to look at the machine. Does the card slot look bulky or loose? Do the keys feel thicker than usual? If so, step back and tell a manager. And remember, small charges you don't recognize are never just mistakes. They may be the first clue that someone is testing your account. Yes, the technology criminals use is clever. Yes, it can be intimidating to think about hidden devices and tricks. But seniors have faced countless challenges before and adapted with wisdom and strength. With steady caution and a willingness to pause before rushing, you can keep control of your finances and protect yourself from becoming another story in this growing trend. Real-life stories that could happen to anyone. Let me share a few stories that reveal how quickly an ordinary moment can turn into financial heartbreak. One woman in her 70s shopping at her local grocery store swiped her debit card at the checkout, as she had done countless times before. The machine beeped, the screen flashed, declined, and the cashier gently suggested she try again. Embarrassed by the people waiting in line, she quickly swiped once more, relieved when it worked the second time. 2 days later, she checked her account and found $600 missing. Withdrawals had been made from an ATM in a city she had never even visited. The decline wasn't a glitch. It was the exact moment her card information was stolen. Another man in his late 60s stopped to get gas on his way home from visiting his grandchildren. He tapped his card only to be told by the pump that the transaction did not go through. Frustrated but not suspicious, he swiped again, this time successfully. The next morning, he discovered that his card had been used to purchase airline tickets across the country. The link between that awkward moment at the gas pump and the sudden loss of hundreds of dollars was invisible to him until it was too late. A third story involves something so small, most people would ignore it. A retired couple noticed $2 charges on their account from a business they didn't recognize. They brushed it off as a mistake, thinking it wasn't worth the hassle of calling the bank. Weeks later, they woke up to find their checking account nearly emptied. Those tiny test charges had been the warning signs, the criminals' way of checking if the card was active before draining everything in one swift move. These stories are not rare or extreme. They happen in every corner of America, from the largest Walmart stores to the smallest corner shops. And they leave behind more than just financial damage. Victims describe feeling embarrassed as though they had done something wrong. They feel hesitant to tell their families, worried about appearing careless or naive. The stress can even take a physical toll, leading to sleepless nights, headaches, and rising blood pressure. For older adults already juggling health concerns, The emotional weight of fraud adds another invisible burden. But here is the truth you need to hold on to. None of these people were foolish, and none of them were at fault. They were ordinary seniors going about everyday routines who encountered a trick designed to exploit trust and politeness. By recognizing these patterns, you can prevent the same thing from happening to you. So if you ever see a tiny charge you don't recognize, treat it as a signal, not an error. If a transaction fails in a way that feels unusual, pause before trying again. And if something doesn't add up, call your bank immediately. These steps may feel small, but they can save you from days of stress and months of financial recovery. Remember, scams thrive on silence and shame, but you are not alone. By sharing your experiences and taking action quickly, you protect not only yourself, but also your community. And that sense of control, knowing you can act, not just react, is the best defense any senior can carry into daily life. Why this scam is more dangerous than you think. What makes this particular trick so dangerous is how ordinary it feels in the moment. A payment decline happens to everyone sooner or later. Maybe the card reader is dirty, maybe the internet signal is weak, or maybe the bank system hiccups. Because these explanations seem so normal, it is easy to brush off the warning signs and try again without hesitation. That everyday disguise is exactly what makes the scam slip under the radar. The second layer of danger lies in the difference between debit and credit cards. With a credit card, suspicious charges can often be flagged quickly, and you usually do not pay until your bill is due. But with a debit card, the money leaves your account instantly. That can mean rent, groceries, or even your medication budget disappearing in a single moment. And while banks may eventually reimburse fraudulent charges, the waiting period can stretch to weeks or even months, leaving seniors juggling bills and feeling helpless in the meantime. There is also the emotional side, which is just as serious as the financial loss. Many older adults feel embarrassed when they think they may have made a mistake. They hesitate to tell their families or even to call the bank right away, worried about seeming careless. That delay gives scammers even more time to drain accounts, turning a small setback into a crisis. The feelings of shame and frustration can lead to sleepless nights, rising stress levels, and even health issues like higher blood pressure. This combination of financial strain and emotional anxiety is what makes the scam so cruel. It does not only steal money, it steals peace of mind. Seniors deserve to feel secure when buying groceries, paying for gas, or enjoying a meal out. That sense of trust in everyday life should never be turned into a weapon against you. The good news is that awareness changes the game. By remembering that even small inconveniences may hide larger risks, and by acting quickly when something feels wrong, you can protect both your finances and your well-being. This is not about living in fear. It is about living with caution and confidence, knowing that your experience and your wisdom are stronger than any scammer's tricks. Warning signs you should never ignore. One of the most powerful tools you have against scams is awareness of the small red flags that most people overlook. Imagine standing at a checkout line and the cashier immediately urges you to try your card again without pausing to check the machine or print a receipt. That kind of quick push should make you slow down, because a legitimate decline usually comes with an explanation or at least a few extra steps. Another sign lies in the machine itself. Card readers are designed to sit firmly in place, but a tampered machine may feel loose, heavy, or slightly off. If the slot looks like it has an extra layer of plastic or the keypad feels thicker than usual, trust that something may not be right. Scammers rely on the hope that shoppers, especially seniors who want to move quickly, won't notice the subtle differences. Pay attention also to unusual delays. If your card takes an abnormally long time before showing a decline, the system may be doing more than simply contacting your bank. That pause could signal that hidden software is capturing your information. While it may look like a minor glitch in reality, it could be the opening act of fraud. The same is true for small charges on your account. If you see unfamiliar withdrawals of just $1, $2 or even $5, do not dismiss them as harmless errors. These are often test transactions, a scammer's way of checking if your card is active before striking with larger amounts. Seniors sometimes overlook them, thinking they will balance out later, but that delay is all criminals need. Finally, never ignore your instincts. Seniors often have what I call life-trained radar, a sense honed by decades of experience. If something about a transaction feels off, the behavior of the clerk, the look of the machine, or just a gut feeling, listen to it. Too many people push aside that inner voice only to regret it afterward. What to do if you find yourself in this situation? If your card ever gets declined in a way that feels unusual, the most important step is to stay calm. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that a moment of inconvenience is not worth risking your financial security, and resist the pressure to rush. Scammers rely on panic and embarrassment to push you into quick decisions, so slowing down is your strongest defense. One smart move is to ask the cashier for a printed receipt showing the decline. A legitimate error can always produce a record, while hesitation or refusal should immediately raise suspicion. Having that slip gives you both peace of mind and proof if you need to report the incident later. It also signals to anyone watching that you are paying attention and not an easy target. Instead of trying your debit card again, consider switching to another payment method, especially a credit card. With credit fraudulent charges, do not remove money directly from your bank account, and you have stronger protections to dispute them. Think of it as adding a layer of cushion between you and the scammer, buying you time and leverage. As soon as possible, check your account on your phone or tablet. Most banks now offer apps that show pending charges in real time. Spending 30 seconds to glance at your balance can mean catching suspicious activity before it grows into something bigger. If you notice anything strange, freeze your card immediately and call your bank using the official number printed on the back, not a number given to you by a clerk or stranger. And perhaps the hardest but wisest step, be willing to walk away. Leaving your groceries behind or stepping away from a gas pump may feel awkward, but your safety and your savings matter far more than a few minutes of inconvenience. Think of it the same way you would think about walking out of a store. If something looked unsafe, you are protecting yourself, not being difficult. Remember, you have nothing to be ashamed of by pausing, asking questions, or refusing to go along with a transaction that feels wrong. Those actions show strength and wisdom, not weakness. By practicing them, you not only keep your finances secure, but also preserve your sense of independence and control, two of the most valuable assets at any age. Long-term protection strategies. The best defense against scams is not just reacting in the moment, but building everyday habits that keep you safe over time. One simple step is to use tap-to-pay features or a smartphone wallet whenever possible. These contactless methods generate a unique code for each purchase, making it almost impossible for thieves to reuse your information. For seniors who want convenience as well as safety, this option adds both peace of mind and ease at the checkout. Another strong safeguard is to set up transaction alerts through text messages or your banking app. Yes, the constant pings may feel distracting at first, but those quick notifications give you immediate awareness if something suspicious happens. Think of it like having a security system for your money one that warns you the moment someone touches it. It also helps to keep only a modest amount in your checking account, with the rest tucked safely in savings. That way, even if your card is compromised, the damage is limited. Many banks also offer the option to temporarily lock your debit card when you are not using it, turning it back on only when you need it. This extra step can stop fraud before it even starts. Finally, consider carrying 2 cards from different banks, one for everyday purchases like groceries or gas, and another, ideally a credit card, for larger or online expenses. By dividing your spending, you prevent one stolen card from putting your entire financial life at risk. Remember, caution is not paranoia, it is wisdom. These strategies are not about living in fear, but about living with confidence, knowing you have taken control of your financial health the same way you would take care of your physical health. As we come to the end of this video, I hope you've taken away one simple truth. Protecting your finances and your health often starts with slowing down, paying attention, and trusting your instincts. Even small changes like pausing before swiping your card again or setting up a bank alert can give you peace of mind and keep you in control. And remember, if you're ever dealing with specific health concerns or symptoms, it's always best to sit down with your doctor and get personal advice. Nothing replaces the guidance of a trusted healthcare professional who knows your unique situation. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What lesson stood out most for you today? Share your thoughts in the comments below, or simply type the word HOPE if you'd like to join others who believe in staying strong and prepared. If you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and share it with a friend or loved one. You never know whose day you might brighten or whose savings you might help protect just by passing this along. As you head into the rest of your day, may you walk with confidence, stay safe in every small decision, and find comfort in knowing that your wisdom and resilience are still your greatest strengths. These tips are shared for general awareness. If you're facing any health challenges, be sure to check with your doctor before trying anything new.